All right, what's going on, everybody, and welcome to the BK Nothing But Nets podcast. I am your host today, Dylan, also known as Nets Press, here as always with the main man, Gary. You know where to find us on Twitter. I don't think we need to plug these in any further. Make sure to follow me on Instagram at Nets Press. Let's get right into it. 2-round mock draft. We're not going to waste your guys' time. First overall pick, Cooper Flag. Second overall pick, Dylan Harper. We're not even going to overthink it. San Antonio, I think will likely take Harper and then look to move Castle for a guy like Giannis if the time comes. Um, Surprisingly, I actually think they may lean away from Giannis based on some things that I've heard because I think they want to try out the Stephon Castle, Dylan Harper, De'Aaron Fox potential lineup. I think they're going to go after KD. I've been saying that for a while though. But this is where it gets fun. We're actually going to have them stick and pick at Philly.
Two things here. I want to just address two things real quick. I don't think under any circumstance is Dallas trading that pick. They just traded Luka, and their organization wanted to. The fan base wanted to kill the organization. If they trade away Cooper, it's going to be.
They made a deal for pick number 1. They're not getting rid of it.
Yeah, I agree. And San Antonio, I don't know what they're going to do. I really, I could see it going anyway.
The only person I can see is Giannis, but at the same time, Dylan Harper is a better player than Stephon Castle's ever going to be. So it's like, at one point, do you look to potentially move De'Aaron Fox or Stephon Castle in the near future and form? Because the duo of Harper and Wemby is going to be your 15-year plan. Like that's disgusting. So I don't see them passing up on Harper.
If you want to trade for Durant, De'Aaron Fox would be a part of that trade, right? Or no?
I'm sorry, repeat that.
If you wanted to, if the Spurs wanted to trade for Kevin Durant, De'Aaron Fox would be a part of that trade, correct?
No. I'm thinking it's Devin Vassell, Keldon Johnson, Jeremy Sochan, and 3 first-round picks. I think what the difference is with San Antonio is they have the contracts to match up. Most teams probably wouldn't give more than 2 first-round picks for KD at this point in his career. The Spurs, though, can overprice that with like 3 or 4 if they really wanted to by giving away bad contracts and keeping the valuables that they have. So if your lineup looks like De'Aaron Fox, Dylan Harper, Stephon Castle, KD, and Wemby, that's intriguing. It's very small up front, but defensively, Harper and Castle can handle their own. KD, he's still 6'10", 6'11", and you got Wemby, of course, to guard the paint as always. So it's an intriguing lineup. It just depends on what they do with the depth of that roster that'll make or break that.
It's going to be an interesting offseason. Like, there's going to be stars on the move. I don't think there's any. I know Milwaukee said they're going to keep Giannis. Milwaukee's not keeping Giannis. And I don't know what Boston's going to do. Like, if you're Boston and you're Denver, if you're Denver and you can't get past the second round and you have the best player in basketball, you got to try to shake things up, right? Because your window is short. I mean, you don't have the best player in basketball forever. Right now you do. You got to try to win again.
Yeah.
I don't know what you do if you're Denver. It's going to be an interesting offseason. All right. So you want Philly to sit and pick, and they're taking Bailey at 3?
I think so. I mean, I saw rumors today about the Sixers potentially targeting KD and Larry Markkinen. It actually just popped up on my phone again from NBA Central. So, I mean, there is a world where Utah makes that move up, and it makes sense, right? Larry Markkinen in the 5th overall pick for Paul George, 3 and a future first. Like, that makes sense. That wouldn't surprise me whatsoever, and I think that's a great move
for Utah. The Paul George thing, though. Utah has some talent. Utah is not in the same position as the Nets. The Nets have no talent. Utah has some talent.
Yeah.
You really can't compete if you have Paul George on the books. That's $50 million for a very bad basketball. It's almost like Ben Simmons, but he gets on the court and just plays badly.
I mean,
you can't compete if you're paying him $50 million.
Yeah, there's got to be a team out there that would be interested by that. Like,
because the Nets aren't going to be good for years.
Yeah. I don't see the Nets doing it, but I could see a team being interested. Like maybe the Suns. Maybe the Suns are interested in Paul George for Bradley Beal, right? It's 1 year less on the deal for Beal.
Yeah.
But at the same time, Paul George is a better fit next to Devin Booker. The Suns still want to try and retool the roster, right? I don't think George's career is over. Like, I don't think he's done. Do I see him being a guy that scores 23 plus anymore? No. I think he's in that 18 to 21 range now. And that's a third option. That's not horrible. Defensively, though, if he stays healthy,
it's not horrible, but the price tag attached to it
is
horrible. Yeah.
And I think for Phoenix, that's where, they could play a role in that potentially. But who knows? I mean, if they get Paul George and it doesn't work for a year, Booker is gone.
What concerned me last year was the lack of effort. Like I mean, maybe he'll get back and Philly won't be terrible and he'll want to play. But it was, when I talked to Keldon Johnson, I said, "Who's the best defender to guard you in the NBA?" He said Herb Jones and Paul George. Like those are the two best defenders.
Yeah.
Paul George played no defense at all. There was no effort on the court from Paul George, from a guy his peers said is the best defender in the league at that position. Like maybe he gets back there, or maybe he just doesn't want to play basketball anymore. He's just playing out his contract. Like, well, I'm going to show up for $50 million, but I'm not busting my balls for no one anymore. Like it looked like it was bad last year. And I'm a Paul George fan. Like I'm a Paul George truther. It was really, really bad last year with him as far as effort. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a rough watch for sure. And I've always been a guy that loves Paul George. Like, I think everybody has kind of at some point in Paul George's career really enjoyed watching him play, whether that was in Indiana, OKC, or even with the Clippers. Like, everybody kind of can mutually agree Paul George is one of their favorite players to watch. He's just a very cool guy to watch. He had that shiftiness at 6'8" that not many players had, and especially before the leg break in Indiana, like that was a peak player right there. He was destined for a lot of greatness if LeBron never existed. But unfortunately, LeBron exists, and Paul George still never made a finals. So
when Paul George came into the league, you know what the knock on him was?
What was it?
He can't shoot.
Really?
Yeah.
And he became one of the best forwards from the perimeter. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I mean, Paul George, man, if he never broke that leg, he still had an MVP caliber season in OKC 3-4 years after. But yeah, fourth overall pick is Charlotte. It's going to be VJ Edgecombe. I think it's still the best fit for them. Again, this is a team that I could see trade back if VJ is not available. I think they would definitely look at guys like Con Kneppel and Kaman Maluak, but for this sake, VJ's there, and we're going to go with him. Same thing for 5. The top 5 to me solidified. No matter who's picking where, and I think that's Trey Johnson at 5. Yeah.
See, aren't you glad we couldn't get 5? Trey Johnson's off the board. He can't end up in the.
And like I said, I'm gonna switch up this draft. I'm gonna do something different that not many people have spoke about. So be prepared. Everybody's gonna freak out with the pick, but I'm gonna go with it. So 6 overall, we're gonna go Derek Queen. Again, I think that they're going to go with that dual threat big, whether it is Maluak or Queen. I think Queen's the better fit next to Sarr in terms of offensive upside. So we're going to do that. This is where we're going to take Jeremiah Fears.
But you have to remember, it's Washington, and Washington's retarded, so you don't know.
They may take Carter Bryant at 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to go Jeremiah Fears here at 7. There's been rumors about it. So we'll switch it up. Like I said, we're going to switch it up, and we're going to go with Sean Marks' golden guy right here, and we're going to Con Kneppel. It's a pick that not many people are going to like, but he has the upside to be very, very good. I'm not going to rule him out, but I do think that there is a chance he is very good. With this pick, I'm going to go Maluak to the Raptors. I like this a lot, especially knowing that he can take a year to develop with Jakob Poeltl still being the starter. And this is where I'm going to have.
I want to make one comment. If I sat through Reese Beekman and Keon Johnson and everything Tyrese Martin and the Drew Timme experience, if I sat through all of that this year for Con Kneppel, I'm going to blow a gasket up. I'm going to be there.
I know.
If that happens, I'm going to blow a gasket.
The one thing that I will say, though, is usually when a fan base absolutely hates a pick, the pick turns out really good, right? That usually happens, right? Look at the Bills with Josh Allen. Right?
Yeah.
There was Bills fans that literally freaked out.
They wanted Josh Rosen, right? That's who they wanted.
They all wanted Josh Rosen. They all thought Josh Allen was going to be the worst pick in human history. Now he's an MVP and the best quarterback in football. And yes, I'm saying the best because I think Mahomes fell off last year. Now, depending on how he comes back, debatable. But for now, I think Josh Allen's the best quarterback in football. Same thing with the Knicks. They hated the Porzingis pick. Porzingis turned out to be an all-star, right? So when a fan base can mutually all agree that they would hate a pick, 9 times out of 10, that pick becomes really good for them. So I don't know. To me, I would be very upset with Con Kneppel, and I'm saying that as a white guy. just because there's one white guy in this draft that I wanted, and that was Flag. If you end up getting Kneppel, I think it's poor representation on our end.
Yeah, this is not to pick the best available white guy. It's not that. Yeah.
Yeah, no. And that's the thing, right? Like Kneppel does have the upside to be a modern day Klay Thompson. And when I say modern day, I don't mean a guy that sits there as a catch and shoot 3 guy. I'm talking can put the ball on the floor, create his own shot, and at 6'7", he can defensively guard the 1 through 4. He is a very, very solid player all around, and I think the upside on him is very good. Third option, I think, is a guarantee for him at some point in time in terms of how good he can be on a team. So I would be interested into seeing what they could do around Kneppel with the rest of the picks. But yeah, the Knicks with yeah, man, dude, that is. I still think he has it. Again, I'm not trying to put things out there that is not like a realistic possibility, but dude, usually your immune system doesn't do that for a mystery virus that hasn't been disclosed. There's some weird shit going on there. And that's actually something that we're going to talk about tomorrow. And since Gary stepped out for a second, I'm going to talk about it now, which is Porzingis rumors, and the Nets potentially taking back salary. But he's back. We'll wait for tomorrow for that.
Yeah, we're gonna have some fun with Porzingis.
Yeah. All right. So with the 10th overall pick, this is where I'm going to switch it up and have a little bit of fun. We're going to do a trade with the Nets. We are going to do pick 26, 27, and Cam Johnson for the 10th overall pick.
It's 26, 27. All right, hang on. So trade pick.
Yep.
Partners. Brooklyn. 26.
Yep.
27 and CJ.
And CJ for pick 10.
Pick 10.
And I don't mind this deal, right? Because you're moving up 16 spots. Now, maybe the Rockets throw in a future first. Maybe the Nets get their 2027 pick back. Who knows? I think that's a realistic possibility. I think Cam Johnson's value is number 1 pick. Not number 1 pick, but a first round pick, I should say. So we'll see. But for now, I'm doing this. And with Kneppel, I think you can pass on Bryant. So for me, I'm going to go Igor Demon here at 10. I think Demon has risen into the top 12 conversation. And if you miss out on a guy like Fears, you need to go grab the best available point guard on the board. And at 6'9", pairing him with Con Kneppel is a very, very intriguing possibility for me. So I absolutely like that for them.
I'm not happy with this draft. I'm just not happy with this draft, Dylan.
Hey, if there's a will, there's a way, and I think there's a world where, I'm not gonna get my hopes up like I did on draft night or draft lottery night. I'm not doing it again. Con Kneppel is a realistic possibility at this point. I can't decline that. I can't pretend it's not real. If Fears is off the board, there's some real debates to be had.
I'm fairly certain that we're getting Con Kneppel. And if Fears is on the board and we pass on Fears to take Con Kneppel, this is like when the Jets took Zach Wilson. This is really going to press my fanhood, right? Like my fandom is really going to be tested.
You may need to take like a 5-year hiatus. It's one of those types of, if it fails, it hurts.
I did have to take a year hiatus with Zach Wilson because I told everyone he was going to be the worst quarterback ever. I said, this is Achilles Smith bad. This is like one of the worst. Ryan Leaf bad. This is just one of the worst. And everyone, no, he's good. He's the truth. Zach Wilson, you'll see. So I'm going to step away for a year. I'm just not going to watch. And then I'm going to come back. And I'm going to say, I told you so. And I'm going to pick up where we left off. And that's what I did. I don't want to have to do that with the Nets because I love the Nets way more than I love the Jets. And there's also like you already missed out on all the good players. So I don't know. If they take Kneppel over Fears, I'm not going to be happy.
Yeah.
Like you're taking Cam, you're passing on a potential all-star point guard to take Cam Johnson 2.0.
Yeah. I
have Cam Johnson.
I'm not disrespecting Con Kneppel. I'm
not disrespecting. Cam Johnson's an NBA pro. He's a rotation. He's a guy in your lineup.
I like the prime Klay Thompson comps better than I do Cam Johnson. Like Cam Johnson could be his floor, and prime Klay Thompson can be his ceiling. That I'm okay.
I think Con Kneppel's floor is Cam Johnson. I think his ceiling is Cam Johnson.
I think his ceiling is Klay Thompson, but modern.
Klay Thompson is 101. Like if I said like what is Klay Thompson's game? Well, he's a 3-and-D guy. He's just freakishly good at it, right?
And that's why I keep using the term modern Klay Thompson, because Klay Thompson, if we all remember, scored 60 points with just taking 12 dribbles, right? Con Kneppel could be a guy who can put the ball on the floor and create a shot for himself in the mid-range. He could, take a dribble or two and hit a step-back three. That wasn't really Klay Thompson's game. It was more of catch and shoot or pump fake, sidestep, shoot. Like, there wasn't really much to his game outside of creating from the perimeter. Kneppel's a little bit different, where he can create in the mid-range game. He can finish at the rim fairly well. His playmaking ability is far better than Klay Thompson, and the defensive ability is very similar to Klay Thompson. So to me, that's why I use the term modern Klay Thompson. It's a more athletic, better visual Klay Thompson. And I think that is something that could be very beneficial for a team. And again, when you're in a draft class where you miss out on the number one options, right? Like, you're not getting a number one option in this draft class now, most likely. Kneppel, though, could be that high caliber third option player that is with your roster for 10 years on a championship contending team. Again, goofy name, goofy player. It's not the flashy pick, but if Fears is off the board, now you're in that debate of, okay, do you take the raw prospect in Maluak, which Leaf has statistically proven Duke centers don't turn out too well, and I'm a Duke fan, I can admit to it. Do you take the raw prospect, or do you take the guy that should be your guaranteed third option in 3-4 years? It's 50-50. It depends on how the rest of the draft goes, right? And you'll see here where I'm going with it. So 11th overall pick, I got Carter Bryant here. I usually have Colin Murray Boyles, but if Carter Bryant's available for the Trailblazers, this is a home run of a pick. I absolutely love that fit for them there.
I want to address it. I saw something going on. Can we talk about this real quick? Jaylen Brown for CT, Noah Clowney, and the 8th pick. I love JB. I would not make this trade at all under any circumstance. Dylan, your thoughts?
I agree. I'm not making the trade. It's the worst contract in basketball. I think that Jaylen Brown on his own team can be very, very good. I kind of, and this is a crazy take, I know, but Jaylen Brown, if he was to have been drafted to his own team and developed properly, could be in a similar position in terms of play style as Anthony Edwards. I'm not talking impact-wise, but he reminds me a lot of a play style similar to an Anthony Edwards-like player. Just in terms of offensive ability and how he created a shot, the athleticism, his defensive ability. But I don't think this is the team for him, and especially at that contract. I'm not paying Jaylen Brown $60+ million every year for the next 3-4 years. It's just, I'm not doing that.
I love JB, but what is he really, right? He's a guy, he's an athlete, he's got a little mid-range, he's got a little in and out move. He doesn't create offense for others. He doesn't make people on the court better. He's not a premier rebounder or playmaker. He's a guy that can score. He uses that athleticism and strength to score. But you can see, like, Tatum is where the engine that makes that go, right? So if you're paying Jaylen Brown, you're paying him to be a franchise-changing guy. And I love JB. He's not that. He's not. Like, not
it's. I would stay away from him as of right now.
I like this. It's Fears or bust, but there's no guarantee he's even going to be available. Like an hour mock, he wasn't available. I'm with you. I want Fears or bust too, but we can't guarantee.
Don Vinci keeps putting him at 5 to Utah. A lot of people are putting him at 7 to New Orleans. Like there's a real possibility Fears doesn't fall to us, and it's unfortunate. But I also agree with it. Like Fears to me is a top 6 guy in this draft. There's no reason for him to be available at 8. If he is, then of course it's the no-brainer pick. But
and then what if Trey Johnson falls to us? He won't. He'll go before us. But what if he falls to 8?
I would.
Trey Johnson.
This is one of those situations where I select Con Kneppel over. I don't like Trey Johnson at all. I've been into this draft for a year now. I've done my research, done my studying. I've watched probably over 20 hours of film on probably 40 different players. Like Trey Johnson, I do not like. He is the one pick, if we were to select one of 9 players at 8 or 1 through 8, that I would absolutely despise. I think it is a horrible fit. I think the upside on him is very limited. I just see a 2-inch taller, slightly better playmaking version of Cam Thomas. And I'm not a big Cam Thomas fan. So
I agree with that assessment.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of it.
I just don't see any upside in it's not that I don't see any upside in Con Kneppel. I think he's Cam Johnson, right? So it's like do I want Cam Thomas or do I want Cam Johnson? Like, which one do I want to draft? You know what I'm saying? Like, all right. But I'm with you, Lee. If he's available, he better be the pick. If he's at 8, he better be the pick.
Yeah, if he's available at 8 and they pass him up, Sean Marks is
you're testing my fandom.
Yeah,
right
there's gonna be some problems. Number 12 in Chicago. I've been having Sorber here a little bit. I'm gonna have him fall. I think that Noah Esengwe has really bumped up his draft value over the past month, and I think that's going to be the pick for me here. They have Bazelis who can play the 4. They have to move Vucevic. They have to figure out their 5. They're likely to bring back Giddey. They're going to probably move Kobe White, so they have Dosunmu at the 2. They have a decent roster, so I think adding Esengwe as your full-time 3 could be of interest. And they also have to move off of Patrick Williams. So I think Esengwe is a really good fit for them.
That's a little earlier than I would have expected, but let's roll with it. Atlanta at 13. I know Alan's in the chat. Here you go.
Tough, because do you go with the high defensive upside and Murray Boyles, who is going to be a backup because you have Jalen Johnson at the 4, or are you going with the combo guard to put alongside Trae Young? And I think that's where I go with this route is Kasparas Jakuponis, a guy who was previously projected in that top 5 range. He's really fallen a bit, at least for me personally. There's still a chance that he goes top 10. But for me, I think Jakuponis is a really good fit. He can play the 2. It's kind of like a Karis LeVert replacement who's on an expiring deal. He'll be a free agent this year. So I think Jakuponis is a really good fit for them.
And potentially a Brooklyn net. We're going to trade for Brook Lopez again. We're going to – Lopez is a free agent too, right?
I believe so. Yeah, we're going to sign Lopez. We're going to sign Karis LeVert. We're going to bring back
and Jared Dudley.
Yes. Yep. And we're going to somehow poach Jared Dudley from the Mavs coaching staff to come back and play. Yep. Power of friendship. With the 14th pick, the Spurs. This is Colin Murray Boyles without question. I think that this is once again perfect fit. High upside defensive player, a bully down low. I don't see any problem with that pick. That is perfect for them.
We moved through the lottery pretty quickly there. All right. Jace Richardson still on the board. Interesting.
Yep. And with OKC here at 15, this is one of those interesting picks where do you see a team maybe trade up? I don't think this is the Nets now that Cam Johnson's gone. I mean, do you package 19 and 2 future firsts to move up? Maybe, but I don't think that's worth it. Yeah, it's a tough.
Who would you want to take? Would you want to take Richardson or Fleming if you traded up?
If you have Kneppel and Igor, my 2 picks would be Sorber or Fleming.
Okay, yeah.
Right, and I think that's where it's kind of like up in the air. I'm gonna have Jace Richardson fall a little bit here. I think I'm gonna have OKC stick and pick, and we're gonna go with Rasheer Fleming. I think that's really hard to pass up. And I think that the upside on him is through the roof as an upperclassman, which I rarely say. This is Naz Reid, but with better defensive ability. And at 6'9" with a 7'5" wingspan, that is a very scary player to add to a team that is in the Western Conference Finals. So I like that pick for them.
And now, who's up now? It's Orlando at 16.
Yeah, and I'm gonna go with Nick Clifford here. I think that Orlando is one of those teams that really needs upperclassmen that can help them win a playoff game or a playoff series, I should say. And Clifford's a guy that can play the 1 through 3. He's a very solid floor spacer, great rebounder for his size, is able to create his own shot fairly well, and can play make at a high caliber. So I think that that's a really good fit for what they need.
Minnesota at 17.
Yeah, I'm going to go Austin Newell. I think that this is just the Naz Reid replacement for when he inevitably opts out of his deal and likely leaves. They have to pay one of Randall or Naz. They're already a second apron team. So I think that with how Randall has conducted himself this playoffs and the way that he played this season with Minnesota, I think that they're going to want to bring him back and continue to contend. And that brings me to Washington. Jace Richardson can't fall any further. They already got a big man, so they don't need Sorber. I think Jace Richardson is a perfect fit here as a floor spacer. Could play the 2 guard next to Poole. Could maybe play the 1 off the bench. I really like that fit for Richard in that pick range for him as well.
And at 19, this is where Sean Marks misses out on Sorber and Fears and takes
And
Liam
goes Liam
McNeely,
McNeely.
correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we're gonna go Sorber here. I think this is a great draft if you are Brooklyn for what you were given, right? Fears was off the board. You take Sorber as your big man, who I think has amazing upside as a two-way center. You know, you get Igor as your high caliber playmaker. And like Alex just said in the comments, I really do think this is a safe draft. Um, you know, these are just picks that all have upside, that all fit, right? It brings versatility. The smallest player you've drafted so far is 6'7". So that's that. There's some interest to be had here, and I think that there could be a lot of potential with what they do with the remainder of the roster moving forward.
So let's assess this real quick. You got height. You got 6'7", 6'9", 6'10". Whose jersey are you buying the day after the draft? Devin, Sorber, or Kneppel?
I'm gonna get a custom jersey that says Nets Press because I can't trust anybody to be on this team for more than 3 years at a time. And the ones that I do buy end up getting traded the year following. So if I want my rookies to be on this team long term and not traded for a package for Giannis, then I'm gonna stay away from buying a jersey. But if I had to choose, I would probably say Demon. Yeah, I think Demon would be a cool one.
All right. I mean, I know we still got 36, and we'll get to that. But just this is our last pick in the first round. We traded 26, 27 to get up for Demon.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts? How would you assess this?
Like Alex said, I think that this is a really safe draft, and there is a reality to it. You know, does Houston move that 10th pick for Johnson? I don't know, because they are in the driver's seat for a guy like Giannis or, you know, Kevin Durant. But it really just depends on what they do with the remainder of their players. If they really want to contend and are serious, they need to move Jalen Green or Sengun, right? One of those contracts, you could still bring in Cam Johnson and still go ahead and grab a star. Like there's a reality around that. And if you have a rotation that consists of, you know, one of Jalen Green or Sengun, Kevin Durant, Cam Johnson, Dylan Brooks, like there's some interest there. And I think that if they really want to contend, it's going to probably be Jalen Green, Jabari Smith, and Cam Whitmore for Kevin Durant, which would give you Sengun at the 5, KD at the 4. You know, you would have Cam Johnson at the 3, Dylan Brooks at the 2. And at that point, you just have to figure out whether or not you're bringing back Fred VanVleet or if you're drafting a point guard later on in the draft, right? At 26 and 27, you could be looking at Nolan Traore. I mean, who else is on the board at point guard? I feel like maybe LeBaron Filan is an option. They still have Reed Shepherd.
Boogie Flan's going back to college.
Yeah, like they have options that they can work around. And I also do think that if, like, let's just say hypothetically they do trade for Kevin Durant, I think they would get a player back as well, right? If you give up, again, Jalen Green, maybe we'll say Reed Shepherd, Jabari Smith, and Cam Whitmore, maybe you're looking at getting back Kevin Durant and Royce O'Neal. So, like, you're adding some more depth rotation, right? I think that there's possibilities of that. And I don't think you'd have to give up too many picks if you're giving up one of Sengun or Green, right? I think you're more so looking at 2 first-round picks plus a package of 3 or 4 players, and that allows you to then either bring back VanVleet. You know, you can move in a different direction. Maybe you sign a guy like Tyus Jones in the offseason. There's options to be had. So I think Houston's in a really good position to where they could add a Cam Johnson and then also go out and still get their Kevin Durant.
Right. And then so if this was our draft, what's our starting lineup at this point? Is it Igor's coming off the bench at this point? Is he ready, or is
if you're just talking solely based on guys who we're bringing back, not new guys that we're adding?
Right. Yeah. Right.
Okay, so you would have to think it's D'Lo, Sharp, Cam Thomas, and Keon Johnson that come back. So you would probably think D'Lo starts at the 1, Cam Thomas at the 2, Cole at the 3. I'm saying Nick Claxton gets traded. So
yeah, okay, so
we'll say Daron at 5, and then probably Clowney at the 4.
So you're not starting Sorber too. Yeah, you're starting.
Not yet. No, I want to see how he recovers from that foot surgery that he.
Yeah.
I mean, he's ready to go. I don't think that that's going to be anything that causes an issue for him, but I definitely wouldn't just throw him out there to start immediately. I think off the bench with Igor is a much better fit than playing next to D'Lo in that starting rotation in terms of development. So I would wait a little bit before starting him.
Nate, who was way ahead of the curve in saying that Tyrese Halliburton was the most overrated player in basketball, which his peers voted him. He said that a while back. Says, I want to know your thoughts on Cohen Carr and Kobe Breer, shooter in the late second round.
I haven't heard of Cohen Carr. There's a couple of guys that I'm starting to see get mocked that I haven't even heard of. And I know probably 60 to 70 players that could potentially be in this draft class. So it's interesting to see a new name. Like there was one guy that posted a mock the other day who had some guy that I've never heard of in my life at pick 20. Oh, here we go. 3 hours ago, Knepel's reliable offensive play and high-level shooting would be a nice building block for the Nets. League insiders see.
Oh, I remember watching Cohen Carr in the tournament. Oh, guys, yeah, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a quote from Draft Express, who is that's Jonathan Giovanni. Knepel's reliable offensive play and high-level shooting would be a nice building block for the Nets. League insiders see an additional scoring and playmaking upside that weren't featured because of his role at Duke. And it's true. Like I said, he has the playmaking ability that really wasn't showcased while at Duke. And he's also able to put the ball on the floor. So like it's a rough pick for Nets fans, but it's a long-term pick that could likely pan out. And again, when a fan base as a whole usually doesn't like a pick, it usually is a really good pick. So I'm not going to rule out, Colin Knepel. On draft night, if I hear his name, I'm going to be upset. But I'm not going to throw him under the bus until year 2. Like, we'll see how
if you go back, Dylan, if you go back and watch the highlights, the tape on Cohen Carr, you'll remember him.
What school did he go to?
Michigan State. He's way over the rim. He's a super athlete with no I don't want to say with a limited skill set.
No, I've genuinely never seen this guy in my life, and like I personally have not. and I've watched. I've watched Michigan State games. I don't remember this guy.
He didn't start. He didn't play much. He came off the bench.
Was he the guy that was coming off the bench in the conference play and in the tournament and was just lighting shit up? Okay, yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean it's intriguing. He's only a sophomore. He's
only a sophomore. Why is he going in the draft though? Like, shouldn't he? Like, I don't know that their plans, but shouldn't he go somewhere or stay at Michigan State?
I haven't heard him declare for the draft.
Once I looked him up, I remember exactly who he was.
Yeah, no, I'm looking at this picture here, and that I remember him now. Yeah, that I can see it. But
the greatest receiver in NBA history.
Yeah, I personally haven't seen him on draft boards or declared for the draft, so I'm not sure if he's 100% in. But yeah, what are we at? So we're at pick 20. This is going to be, is it Utah or Miami? I think it's Miami.
20 is Miami. Liam McNeely.
I want to say no because I just don't like him. Again, he's one of those few players that I'm just not high on. I think Will Riley is such a better fit for Miami. But I think McNeely's upside is there. They're in a position where they could look to move a guy like Nikola Jovic or Jaime Jaquez to potentially trade for a star. So let's go McNeely. I don't mind it. I think the floor spacing role that he plays is very Miami-like. And with Duncan Robinson being on an expiring contract, it's definitely not a bad sharpshooter to add. All right, we got Utah 21. Yeah, this has got to be Will Riley. I don't see him falling any further. And if you're able to add Trey Johnson and Will Riley, that's a very solid draft for Utah.
So Utah did not get their white guy.
Well, remember they have 1 or 2 second-round picks. There's room there's room for the usual suspect to be drafted. So,
all right.
Atlanta's up.
This is a
very limited big man. Yeah, this is a very limited big man spot for him. And I feel like a team like Charlotte could look to trade up.
You want to do that?
I mean, they have 33 and 34. Do they give up 33 and a future first for 22? Atlanta does need draft capital. I don't hate the idea.
Charlotte can't. I mean, Charlotte can't trade one of their future picks because there's a very good chance it's going to be a very good pick because it's Charlotte's pick.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? You could add a protection to it and top 8 protected. And if it's like 3 years down the road, maybe it works.
But I feel like Atlanta wants players right now. I mean, it depends on what they do with Trae Young. And now I'm hearing that Trae Young might be back.
Yeah, I mean, we could do the Charlotte trade with Indiana next. I don't mind that. All right. Yeah, let's go Atlanta taking a pick here. We'll go Joan Berenger, center out of France. they need a backup center with, how they are going to be losing Clint Capella. And they already got Jakob Jonas as their Karis LeVert potential replacement to play alongside Trae Young. I don't hate that idea. It's not like a flashy home run of a draft, but again, safe picks, guys that you kind of need and utilize right away. So I think Beringer could have a lot of upside as a backup 5 to start his career.
All right, let's get on to. You want to make the trade now, right? Want to trade Indiana?
Yeah, let's make the trade, and I'm going to switch things up here because usually we have OKC go with this guy. I'm going to have Charlotte take him.
Let me make the trade. Let me make the trade first. Hang on.
Yeah, let's go 33, and we'll just say future draft capital. I'm not going to get into exact details, but whether that's a protected first, a boatload of seconds, whatever it may be, I think that Charlotte is in a position where they could move up. And I'm going to have them take Danny Wolf. I think that a playmaking, to put the ball on the floor big man is a very nice piece to add for them, especially knowing that there's question marks around Mark Williams. And OKC would have been the team to take him at 24, in my opinion. So I think being able to move up one spot ahead of them and take him while also keeping one of your high second round picks is a really good fit for them. So I don't hate that at all. For OKC, Rasheer Fleming, I think with the bigs that are on the board, they kind of pass now, knowing that Fleming has that 7'5" wingspan. They still have Chet. They still have Isaiah Hartenstein. I don't think it's really like a position of dire need. So for me, I think I would have them go Cedric Coward. He is rising up draft boards left and right. There's a world where he goes top 17. But to me, if he's available at 24 and you already got your stretch 4 guy that can play the 5 potentially, I think you go Cedric Coward for sure.
Orlando at 25.
Yeah, and I don't see them taking another guy who is a senior. I think they look for some upside, whether that is Nolan Traore, LeBaron Filan, or Ben Seraph. I think if it was my choice personally, I would take Traore. I think in terms of fit and how the player could play alongside that Orlando roster, I think Filan could be the pick. Seraph is probably the best playmaker. There's a lot of, go Filan. I don't hate the Filan pick for them. All right, now we're going to have Houston back-to-back. Now that's interesting. Okay. So, and this is a perfect position for them, right? Because you're now looking at, let's see, you would have Steven Adams coming back. I'm going to say that Sengun is still there. So I don't think they necessarily need a center. I think their 2 guard would be gone, but I like Jalen Green. I think they could use a backup 4 if they lose out on Jabari Smith. And I think a point guard is still a dire need. So for me, I'm going to go with Nolan Traore and Yaxel Lendeborg. I think that in terms of just fit-wise, I think it's perfect for what they need, especially if they're able to build that championship contending roster. Yaxel being a guy you can immediately implement, and Traore being a guy that you could develop into your future point guard. With Boston here, I'm going to have them take Maxime Reynaud. I think he's flying up boards, and I really don't hate the idea of them drafting a big, especially with Horford retirement in question, and then, of course, Porzingis likely to be traded. Phoenix here at 29. This is where I'm going to go Ben Seraph. I can't see him fall.
He's got to come off the board at some point. Yeah,
I can't see him fall any further. And then at 30, this is where it gets interesting. I'm not high on Clayton. I'm seeing people having him slip into the second round. Do I follow along? I think so, just because of pettiness, maybe. But I'm not a fan of Clayton's game. For the Clippers, though, I could see them taking Noah Penda.
So you got Clayton and Cam Jones falling.
Yeah, it's either Jones, Penda, or Thiaro here for me. And I don't mind them taking Penda. I think Penda's rising up boards as well. So I really don't hate that for them. So yeah, Minnesota here at 31. They already got Asa Newell. I'm going to have them take Walter Clayton here. I think that this is a perfect spot for him. Boston would have been another great fit for him, but I think he's best available at this point in time. And with, what is this? Now this is Boston. Okay.
I got a question. This is where I want to come in. Answer. We got a bunch of second round picks in the future. Yep. Boston's got a loaded roster.
Mm-hmm.
They don't need another pick here. Can we trade a bunch of future seconds and 36 for
I actually think it's opposite. I think they do need a pick here. And the only reason why I say that is because Tatum's hurt, right? And because you're over the second apron, and because you're going to be looking to move off of guys like Porzingis and Holiday.
So I'll give you 36 in future picks. I want Cam Jones here.
I personally, if I'm going with anybody on this board currently, it's Addo Thiaro for Brooklyn. I would do Thiaro or Bogolajub.
So we got Sorber already, right?
Well,
to me, second round,
Thiaro
it's just
Thiaro is a 6'8" wing.
Yeah. Oh, I think you're talking about Bogolajub. Okay.
Bogolajub's like he's considered like a stretch 4 at 6'11". I don't think they're really viewing him as a 5. I mean, who's on the board currently? Let's see who's on the board.
We got, like, the board looks good. That's why I want Cam Jones, Thiaro, Bogolajub, Hugo Gonzalez, who I don't know anything about him.
Who else is on here?
Broom, Kalkbrenner, Drake Powell. But we can probably sit at 36 if you want to take Drake Powell. We could probably get him at 36.
You know what? I actually don't hate this idea. Let's do it. Let's go 36, and we'll just say a future second round pick for 32. I don't hate that at all. Because there is a guy that I do want to take here because we haven't taken an upperclassman.
Cam Jones.
I'm gonna pass on Cam Jones. I am going.
I'm gonna go none of the guys I like. All right, let's just do all the things you want to do. Hang on,
listen.
Let's say 36.
Addo Thiaro, have you seen the clips? This man is a fucking animal. Addo Thiaro, people are viewing his style of play and his strength as an Amen Thompson-like style, which is very intriguing to me. And I think if you're looking at that again, I'm not a fan of guys who are just pure scorers. I don't think it works in the NBA. I don't like how people, just they visualize scoring over an all-around game, right? And to me, I think all-around games are a bit more important, especially if you're trying to build contending style teams. So for 32 here at Brooklyn, this is where I'll go Addo Thiaro. I think that you need an upperclassman, a guy that can be a day one wing that you can play, whether it's as a starter or off the bench. The efficiencies are there. The floor spacing is there. The defensive ability is there. The strength is there. I see this as a better Dorian Finney-Smith-like player, a guy who could put the ball on the floor, create his own shot. Defensively, very similar style of play. I think that's a home run of a pick there at 32 if you move up.
Indy at 33. It's an interesting pick here.
Yeah, I mean, this is their first pick of the day.
Your 2025 NBA champions, what do they do?
I think that this is where you see Ryan Kalkbrenner go. I think that they need a backup big. There's rumors that Miles Turner is returning, which I didn't think was going to happen. But I think if you are in a position, you already have a ton of wings. You have to make moves this offseason. I think that the backup big is the position of need. So Kalkbrenner, I really don't hate that pick there for them. All right, and we're at Charlotte at 35 now?
Yeah, 34.
34, okay. I don't hate Bogo here. That's I mean, dude, if you can get VJ Wolf and Bogo, that is a solid draft for Charlotte. There is a lot of upside, versatility, floor spacing, playmaking. That is a really good draft for Charlotte. Yeah, that's a really good one.
Philly's back on the board. They got Ace Bailey, this their second pick.
Yeah, and this is where I could see a guy like either Cam Jones or maybe Tahad Pettiford. I'm going to go with Cam Jones here. They already have Ace as a project player. I don't think they need another young guy to put on that roster. So I don't hate the idea of Cam Jones there.
Cam Jones is a senior, so he's 22 or 23. He's a little older. Would he go in and play rotational minutes for Philly right away, or
I would assume so. Yeah, I mean,
he comes in off the bench.
Yeah, you would have to think that they're a team that would make a move this offseason to maybe clear up some cap space. Is Eric Gordon involved in that? Maybe, and I think Cam Jones is a perfect Eric Gordon replacement. So yeah, I could see Cam Jones getting minutes immediately in Philly on a contending roster for sure.
Boston at 36. This is the pick that we gave him.
Yeah, and this is very interesting because there are a lot of upside guys still on the board. Drake Powell would be a sick fit here. But again, they're also a team that needs to find that Drew Holiday replacement. I think Tahad Pettiford's a really solid option for them as a backup point guard. You would have Pritchard and White as your 1 and your 2, Pettiford off the bench. I really don't mind that for them at all, and he's rising up board, so I like the fit for Pettiford there.
Detroit at 37. This is their first pick at 37.
This would be a sick spot for Drake Powell, but Hugo Gonzalez still being on the board, I'm not sure if he falls this far. It really just depends on what they think they need. I think they have floor spacing already with Hardaway Jr., with Tobias. You know, they're expiring contracts, but they're guys that I expect to be returning to Detroit. Go Drake Powell. I'm going to go with my gut. Go Drake Powell. I really like that fit for him there as a 3-and-D high caliber defensive player, a guy who really wasn't utilized properly at UNC. I still think there's a ton of room for him to develop. And again, has that OG Anunoby upside where he can space the floor and be a premier defender. So I really like that fit for them.
We got San Antonio back up. San Antonio's having themselves a day. They got Harper and Colin Murray-Boyles.
Again, this is such a tough spot because Hugo should not be on the board.
But he's not falling beyond this, right?
But they don't need another wing. That's the problem, especially if they go after a guy like KD or Giannis, right? Like they realistically don't need another wing. They would have
if they got KD or Giannis, guys like Keldon Johnson would be gone.
Yes. So, but that's the thing, right? Let's just say there is a world where they keep Castle because there's talks that they want to play Castle at the 3 next year, next to Harper and Fox. Let's just say their wings next year are Castle, Harrison Barnes, one of KD or Giannis, and then Colin Murray-Boyles. Like they have wing depth. You know what I mean? So it's a bit difficult to really find where Hugo could fit in there, which is why I'm more so thinking Alex Condon. I think they need a backup 5 potentially.
And Broom's more of a 4 and Condon's more of a 5 in the NBA? Or what? How would you?
I think they're both very similar in the sense that they can both play the 4 and the 5. I just think Johni Broom's horrible combine is going to really hurt him. I mean, this would have also been a spot where I'm not surprised about that kid from Sweden, Yannick Niederhauser. Like that wouldn't have been a bad pick there either. But for Toronto at 39, who did we have them go in the first? It was Maluak. This has got to be Hugo. Got to be Hugo. Yeah, that's a no-brainer. You just get him off the board. All right. This is Washington again. Probably Miles Bird. I mean, there's a few guys that genuinely I don't know if they have on. I know that they don't have them on here. Let me go to Jonathan Giovanni to see what his recent mock draft was, because I do want to add guys who I may not be specifically seeing on Fanspo. So let's see. I'm just scrolling through the list here. Wow, he had Derek Queen going 12 to Chicago. And he had Joan Beringer going 13 to Atlanta. That's horrible. My God. Danny Wolf at 17 to Minnesota. McNeely at 18. Hey, they have Sorber going to Brooklyn at 19. Bang. So they had Sorber and Kneppel going 8 and 19, which is how we had it. They had Traore going 20. Asa Noel going 21 to Utah. Will Riley to Atlanta, so very similar pick range of where we had him. They had Nick Clifford going 23. Maxime Reynaud 24. Hugo Gonzalez going 25. Yaxel to Brooklyn at 26. And Rasheer Fleming to Brooklyn at 27.
Okay. I mean, I like that. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen, but I like it.
It's intriguing, but way too many upperclassmen for me. Like at that point, you're picking between Rasheer or Yaxel for me, and I'm picking Rasheer.
I'm old enough to remember when being an upperclassman was a pro, not a con, because it meant you knew how to play basketball.
Yeah.
Right? Like you weren't drafting an 18-year-old who doesn't know how to play basketball. Like I get, it's just it's that's the trend now.
Yeah,
I see it all the time in my sport in boxing. They want to get these kids who are 18, like, but he doesn't know how to fight. That doesn't matter. He doesn't know how to fight. Okay, all right. He's explosive and he's powerful and he's got quick hands, so we'll just take him. Okay.
Yeah, I know it's crazy. Okay, so this is Golden State. This is where we'll do a write-in. I'm gonna have them take Yannick Conan Niederhauser out of Sweden. Well, they say he played at Penn State. Yeah, if you want, Select Joe's. Yeah, go with him. Why not? And then just write in Yannick, Yanic, and then I'm gonna make you do the middle name. So do Niederhauser, Niederhauser. Why are the Brooklyn Nets favored to win the Russell Westbrook sweepstakes? That's strange.
Is that even a sweepstakes? Is that something you want to win?
It's really not. No. That's more of like that's a donation.
Yeah, like you win the Get Prostate Cancer Award sweepstakes. Like, I don't really want to win that. I don't think. Yeah,
I would not want to win that award. No, that sucks. That's way worse. I hope somebody got that reference too. If you watch Shane Gillis, you would know. All right, Sacramento at 42. By the way, in Giovanni's recent mock draft, they had Drake Powell at 31, Ben Seraph at 32, LeBaron Filan at 33. I don't see those guys falling that far. They did have Todd Pettiford at 37, so around the range that we have him as well. But with Sacramento's pick here, they had him take Bogalajub, which of course is off our board. Janai Broom is still here. Tyrese Proctor. So I don't hate the Tyrese Proctor pick here for them. I think that's a very, very solid point guard for them to add. And they still have Sabonis as of right now. Maybe they're looking to retool the roster. Proctor is definitely a guy who could be seen as a win-now piece. So I don't hate that for them.
We got Utah up at 43. They have so far Trey Johnson and Will Riley. They don't have their white guy yet. Man.
I'm going to switch it up here. We're going with the trifecta of non-white people. We're going Hanson. We're going
Hanson Yang.
We're going Hanson Yang as the backup center for Utah. So they really formed out the whole non-white roster, which is hilarious, knowing that Utah is the Mormon town of America. But yeah, I don't hate that for them. Like Hanson Yang's rising up boards. I could see it. This pick for what is it? OKC.
Kobe Bria, shooter.
I mean, they have Cedric Coward. They have Isaiah Joe. They have Aaron Wiggins. Who's on the top of the board currently?
Broom, R.J. Lewis, Darian Williams, Alex Tui, Chaz Lanier.
I think if you're at this point in the draft, you kind of have to go Alex Tui. Because they have two guys who are upperclassmen. They could use a youthful player that they could see with some upside. And with a non-guaranteed contract in the second round, that makes a ton of sense. Chicago, my God. I feel horrible for these people. Let's see. Let's go with it. Let's go Janai Broom. I mean, this is what Giovanni has on his mock right now.
He's going to get drafted, yeah.
Giovanni has Broom at 45. Let's stick with it. All right, this is now... Okay. All right, this is interesting. They have Clifford. They have Filan. I think that this is a solid R.J. Lewis fit.
No shooter? No Kobe Bria? We're not taking the shooter?
I mean, he is 6'7". I swear to God, I'm an adult. If one of you fucking TikTok watchers hit me with that 6'7" bullshit, I'm going to be angry. Yeah, go Kobe Bria. I don't hate that. You guys are very high on him. Giovanni doesn't even have R.J. Lewis in this draft. That is a sin. That's horrible.
No R.J. Lewis?
Is R.J. Lewis back in school? I'm confused. We're going to stick with him anyway at some point. But Milwaukee is here. I'm going Rocco Zikarsky. I think in terms of just how the board currently looks, they need the highest upside, and Zikarsky could be their Brook Lopez replacement. He's also young. I like that fit for them. All right, Memphis is up. This has to be R.J. Lewis for me. Has to be. Love that fit for them. All right.
Who was the last St. John's player to be drafted into the NBA? It's been a little while, right? Harkless? Whatever happened to Anthony? Whatever happened to Anthony Mason's kid?
Couldn't tell you.
He never got a shot in the NBA, right? He was never on an NBA roster, was he?
Not to my knowledge, no.
All right. Cleveland. This is Cleveland's first pick at 49.
Cleveland. Ooh.
Chaz Lanier?
Let's see. I think Chaz Lanier is a bit too small for what they need. I don't hate Micah Peavy. I don't hate Sion James. I don't know if Darian Williams is in the draft, but if he is, I think that's the clear and obvious pick for them. Yeah, let's just go Darian Williams. I'm going to go based on that he is in the draft. Wow, dude. Giovanni has Cam Jones going 53 to Utah.
Why would he drop that much?
I don't know. I have no clue. They do have Mackenzie Makuba back on the board, though, which is interesting because he is doing draft combine workouts, but he was declared to go back to school. So I loved Makuba as a late second-round pick for some teams. All right, this is the Knicks. This has to be Chaz Lanier. I think that they need guard help. Yeah. They need scoring off the bench. That's a perfect fit for them there.
And he's a senior. He's someone they could probably play right away. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. All right, this is. I don't hate Dink Pate here, but I'm also more high on Kadary Richmond than a lot of people are. They don't even have Kadary Richmond on this mock draft. They don't have Sion. Oh no, Sion is there. Micah Peavy isn't. RJ Lewis isn't. Kadary Richmond isn't. Peyton Sandfort isn't. Like, there's names that should be on this draft. Again, it's so difficult because these guys declare for draft, but then keep their eligibility, so they're left off board. It's so annoying. Like, just figure out if you're in the fucking draft or not. All right, for them, they got their young upside defensive guy in Penda. I like Dink Pate here. I think, again, another upside guy at 6'8" who could play the 1, 2, and 3. Is a solid playmaker. I don't think he falls any further with the upside that he's been known to have. So at 51 with the Clippers, that's a really solid pick. Phoenix, they got their upside in Ben Seraph, right? At 29. Yeah, I mean that's great value there. Yeah. You're probably looking more wing or big here. And I don't think there's a big available on the board that I personally would take for them. Maybe this is where they go with a guy like Michael Ruzic, the power forward center overseas. I don't hate the idea of that for them. Again, another upside pick. Yeah, go with that. I like that.
All right, you talking about Michael Ruzic a little bit? I gotta take a leak real quick.
Oh man, you're giving me a horrible spot here. I have no clue anything about this guy.
All right, well, let's do one more pick and I'll take a leak.
Okay, let's go one more pick. Who is this? Jesus Christ.
Utah.
They have no upperclassmen. So many picks. Oh man, is this the Peyton Sandfort pick? Do they finish the
There you go. They finished
and I don't know though, because who's on the board? They have
Kadary Richmond,
they have Will Riley,
Sion James, Micah Peavy.
They could use a point guard, but they could also use they could also use a white guy. Ah man. Do we just do it for the jokes? Because realistically, the end of the second round is so hard to tell. Do it for the jokes. Yeah. Why not? Go Peyton Sandfort. They just got 4 guys of all different ethics. I love it. They're showing that Utah isn't a horrible place to be. Yeah, no, that's just a joke pick. I mean, it's hard to really tell who's going to be these selections at the end of the second round. Like I said, guys like Kadary Richmond, RJ Lewis, Jalen Lowe. He doesn't even have Hunter Salas in this one. Aaron Scott is not in this. Like, Fanspo has some guys who are missing from the board, but like I don't see a reason why Richmond, Lewis, Sandfort, like I don't see why those guys wouldn't be selected in this year's draft, especially over guys like Eric Dixon. I can't even pronounce this name. It's a center from Michigan. He was a fifth-year guy. Javon Small, the point guard from West Virginia. Victor Lakin from Clemson. Like I don't see those guys getting drafted over guys that we have on our board. Imagine drafting Dink Pate and he lobs a pass to Claxton to throw down, and Ian Eagle goes dink and dunk. Oh my god, that's actually good. I don't hate that. That's funny. Nets suck, always will. Yeah, I mean, hey, you're a Jets fan. It doesn't help, but yeah, we're in the same boat. I mean, dude, there's really no shit talking as a Jets fan. You just witnessed a roster with Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams alongside a high caliber defense and insane amounts of weapons offensively, not even make the playoffs. There's really no room for talk as a Jets fan. I mean, I'll take my 6 Super Bowls as a Steelers fan. and smile proudly for it. But as we wait for Gary to come back, there's only a few selections left. If you are new around here, make sure to drop a subscribe, follow wherever you're watching, whether that's YouTube or Twitter. Make sure to follow us, subscribe to us over there. And if you are watching live on YouTube right now, make sure to tap the like button. It's always much appreciated. And if you haven't already, make sure to follow me at NetsPress on Instagram. Gary's back. Nice. Let's go. Yeah, I know Gary's a Jets fan. I talk shit to him all the time about it. And they suck. And a Mets fan? All right, cool. Look at the hat. Soto sucks. We won the Trent Grisham trade. Fuck out of here.
The champions of May, the New York Yankees.
Always.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? When was the last time you guys made a World Series?
2015.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were there last year. Moving on, because the Mets suck, the Jets suck, and the Nets suck. It's just unfortunate truths for Gary's reality. But yeah. So we did have Peyton Sanford go as a joke to Utah. Who knows if it's a possibility or not. This is where I love Kadary Richmond. But who's on the top of the board? Because I think Micah Peavy is still here. Who else is on the board? Sion James is still here. Yeah, that's a tough player to pass up. Yeah, go Sion James. That's a tough player to pass up. It's a great 3-and-D guy, and knowing Indiana, they will never learn from their mistakes of having too many wings. This has to be Micah Peavy. Has to be. Yeah, go Micah
Where are we at now? We went through this draft quick. The Lakers at 55. Micah Peavy?
Yeah, I was going to say, we're only an hour in, and we're pretty much done with the draft. Yeah, go Micah Peavy here. I think that they're going to be giving up some expiring contracts and some depth. I was between Peavy and Richmond there. Okay, so for New York, this is a forfeited pick, which means I'm going to just consider it as like a undrafted rookie. We're going to go Kadary Richmond here, keep the New York kid in New York. And being able to land a 6'6" point guard and a 6'4", 6'5" shooting guard, I think those are definitely the positions of need for them. There's really no centers on the board that I would select here, so I like those two picks for them. Memphis back up after
these forfeited picks just hurt the talent pool. They should just give the pick to someone else. The 60 picks, the Knicks lose it, the pick goes to someone else.
It does. Right? Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. It sucks, but it's one less pick for the Knicks. For Memphis, this is where I like Hunter Salas. They already got their wing in RJ Lewis. I think a guy that could play the 1 and the 2 is a really beneficial spot for them, especially at 6'5". He lit up Wake Forest, so why not head over to Memphis? And now Orlando's back up. Jesus Christ. I mean, they already have a ton of wings. You know what, man? If he's still on the board here, go with him. Scroll all the way down and find Mackenzie Mgbako or whatever his name is. He'll be in the M's, so you got a little ways to go. But they have him back on draft boards, and I was high on him earlier in the season. I had him in the projected top 50, so why not go ahead and grab him at 57? I believe this is where we're at.
Who is this?
Mackenzie Mgbako, Mgbako.
I can't search for him though. There's no way to search for him. Right?
No. You're almost there. You're almost there. Yeah, you got it. It's in alphabetical order. A, B, C,
D,
it
is.
K, L, M, N, O, P. Yeah. So it's coming up here. Yeah,
there he is. Yeah.
Yep. What a name too underneath him, Magoon Gwath. That is a fucking name. But yeah, Mackenzie Mgbako here to Orlando. Again, if he's available, you just take him. For Cleveland, this would have been such a perfect Kadary Richmond spot. Go Caleb Love. I think that they could use the scoring off the bench. And with the final pick, what is this? Houston? Yeah, they got Traore. They got Yaxel. Go Aaron Scott. They love their defense. Aaron Scott would be a perfect. I mean, hey, three St. John's guys going in the second round.
There you go.
Like I said, there's names on this list for guys who are potentially available on draft night that are not available on the website. There's guys on the website that are here that may not even be on draft night. But for me, this is how my mock draft would go. So this is our first full 2-round mock draft post lottery night, I believe. I love it. I mean, let's run down the Nets picks here real quick because this is a scenario that we have not seen before, right? There's only one guy that we took that we usually take, which is Sorber.
We went Cam Johnson at 8. Igor Demon at 10. 22. It was and then what was it? Oh, it was 19 still? Did we still have 19?
Yeah, we still had 19.
Sorber. So okay, let me do this again in the non-retarded version. Conn Kneppel, Igor Demmin,
Thomas
Sorber at 19. Then we traded 25, 26, 27. And at 32, we took Adu Theoro, a junior out of Arkansas.
I mean, that's a hell of a draft, if you ask me. Like, it's really not horrible. It's a safe draft. Like, this could be reality. You know, it sucks, but it's not a bad draft. I mean, I want to just see where Ado Theoro went on this board. He went.
It's not that it's a bad draft. It just does nothing unless Igor hits. Unless Igor becomes it does nothing. Like, we still suck, and we're going to suck for a long time with this, right? Like. I mean, it's not a bad draft, but it did nothing to impact your franchise. And to me, the entire point of this season was to do something to impact your franchise in the future. And it's like, we got a couple of pieces.
See, the thing, though, is I wouldn't say that it didn't impact the franchise, right? You could be looking at your star point guard of the future in Igor. You could be looking at your third option guy in Conn Kneppel. You could be looking at your starting center in 3-4 years in Thomas Sorber. You could be looking at one of your high upside.
Dylan, who's scoring the basketball?
Cam Thomas.
You don't even want Cam Thomas here. But all right.
I wouldn't say that I don't want him here. I just prefer. It's not even that I prefer. I just know that at some point in time, he's going to be used in a trade for a star. That's how these things work. That's just basic ball knowledge. And people who decline it, that want to believe that he's here, it's not going to happen.
Well, I'm not going to be upset about this pick, but I'm going to be realistic. I'm going to be cautiously optimistic and say, unless what's up?
Despite not having a first round pick, the Milwaukee Bucks have been planning to bring in some projected top 8 picks for workouts. Why did they use top 8? Why did they use top 8? Come on, man. I don't want this fucking dick on my team, dude. He's just going to ruin
It's not that I don't want him. Like, obviously, I want Giannis.
I do not want him. Like, I am so against it. There is just nothing of value.
Nate, are you still in the chat? I want to have Nate on. Nate thinks the Nets should trade for him. Nate, are you still in the chat? If I want to give you a link, Nate, and I want to have you on.
Somebody who wants Giannis, please hop on the panel. I need to discuss this with people who are just lacking of common sense lately.
I'm going to text
him. Reason for this. Yes,
I'm going to text him real quick. Hang on.
Now you got me worked up. Now I'm going to get angry. By the way, can you save this draft as well? I want to go back and look at this later.
Yeah, I can save it.
I can't, man. I can't deal with this fucking stupid Giannis shit, man. Not only has it already been reported he wants to dictate decisions on the next roster he may potentially be on, but you're also trading the fucking world for a guy who is going to be on a team with no win now pieces. You're wasting 1.5 to 2 years of his career. You're wasting 2 years of what you could be inevitably rebuilding with. There's just no point of fucking Giannis in Brooklyn. There's not one. There's not one logical, realistic response that states that this is a good move for the Nets. We just finished as the 12th seed.
I'm with Dylan. Look, we don't have any pieces to build around it. If we have Giannis, we're worse than Milwaukee. Is that what you want to do? And then trade like
it's far worse than Milwaukee. Horribly worse than Milwaukee.
So what would a trade look like? Cam Thomas, Cam Johnson, Nick Claxton, probably two of those guys. Probably Clowney.
It's probably Nick Claxton, Cam Thomas, and Dariq Whitehead plus 6 first-round picks, including the 8th overall pick.
Clowney's
probably another
they're valuing Milwaukee is valuing Clowney over Whitehead. No,
I don't think you can get rid of both of your bigs. If you're giving up a big man, I don't think
I feel like if you're the Nets, you're saying Clowney is a big man.
He's gonna have to be. We're gonna have shit. We're gonna have nothing.
I mean, if you're the Nets, and they're giving you Giannis, beggars can't be choosers, right? Like, if they say we're taking Clowney, we're taking Clowney. Like,
I'm a beggar and a chooser. Keep that fucker away from Brooklyn. This is a straight up PR ticket sales bullshit scheme that they're trying to run. I'm not doing this stupid shit, man. There is not one offer that you could say the Nets can make that beats out probably about 6 other offers from contending teams that want Giannis this year. There's not one. Like, Cam Thomas and Nick Claxton is not a better package than one of Jalen Green or Sengun plus others. That package is not better than either the number 2 pick for Dylan Harper or a package that consists of potentially Stephon Castle and 4 to 6 first-round picks. Like, there's not one package the Nets have that realistically should be better than any other team trying to go after him. So what does that leave you? A, he demands Brooklyn and you have to overpay so this way they don't send him somewhere else. Or B, you get him and you have fuck all around him to where you can't win in year one. It's a waste of his career. It's a waste of our rebuild and assets. There's not one logical reason that Giannis should be in that.
Let me make the argument why Giannis wants to be here. He's very active in the Greek community, and the Greek community in America is basically just New York. Like, there's not other places where there's a ton of Greek people.
I'm so tired of appeasing communities and fucking people. Like, fuck people. I don't care about people. I care about my team winning.
I tend to agree with you.
I'm not a people person. I hate people. I don't like people at all.
If you told me we're going to bring in Jun Young Kim from Korea, but he's going to win a championship, all right, bring him in.
I don't care.
I tend to agree with you.
If we win a championship, we win a championship. You don't win a championship by giving up all of your assets plus your youth for a guy who can't even make it on a roster that consists of Kyle Kuzma and Damian Lillard. It's not happening. Those 2 players are better than anybody we have on our team, outside of Cam Thomas and Kuzma, maybe. And Cam Thomas wouldn't even be on the fucking team because he'd be traded for Giannis. So there's just no reason for
it. They said top 8. Okay, so that means that's right. It's not just probably talking to Dallas. They're talking to San Antonio. They're probably talking to other teams about.
No, you would have to think it's only San Antonio and Brooklyn and New Orleans. Those are the only 3 teams that have even been rumored for him in the top 8.
He ain't going to New Orleans. They're not sending him to New
Orleans.
I
hope he does. It's the best fit. It's the best package.
Yeah, but they want their stars in big. Like, they didn't send Luka to a team where they thought he'd be a good fit. They sent him to the biggest market and said, "We'll worry about that when he gets there. We'll worry about getting him a team when he gets there." Right? But the Lakers, we know, are going to be good for the next 7 years because they have Luka.
You know what the funny part is? The 3 out of the 4 teams in the conference finals are small market teams. Guess what, NBA?
You think the NBA likes that? You think the NBA is going to be?
I love it.
If the NBA gets, and I think this is going to happen. If the NBA gets Indy and OKC in the finals, you think they're going to be happy?
I hope they're not. I hope they're not. Fuck Adam Silver. The guy is horrible at what he does, man.
He's not good. He's not good.
How many rigged draft lotteries do you need to see before you're like, hey, you know what? Maybe it's time to give the small organizations a chance because the big ones suck at doing what they do anyway. Fuck them. Sorry, my inner New York is coming out of me, as you can tell. Yeah, no, there's no logical reasoning behind Giannis to Brooklyn. There's not one, other than, oh, there's a Greek community and it's a big market and it would bring in ticket sales. Okay, cool. Piss off. We're not.
Would I trade 8 for Zion? I would trade 8 for Zion.
Why? Why?
Okay, so what you're asking me is, would I trade Con Knipple for Zion? Yes, I would.
It's not about Con Knipple. It's about next year's pick. Next year's pick is more important than Zion Williamson, who can't stay healthy, who can't stay in shape, who loves Doritos, who loves Mountain Dew, who loves McDonald's. I can't.
We're not gonna have the worst
jersey with me. I don't have the Zion
have the worst record. We're not gonna have the worst record in the NBA next year, right? So there's no guarantee that we're gonna get a top 5.
We could if we don't add in guys like Naz Reid or Giannis or guys like that, and if we get rid of guys like Cam Johnson and bring in 4 rookies like we're trying to do in this mock draft, like it's a world where we can. I'll give you the talent that you put around him.
I'll give you 8. 26, 27 for Zion. Take it or leave it.
Ow!
I'm not dealing next year.
Why would you give up 3 first-round picks in this year's draft? Why?
Because 26 and 27 are going to be.
This is blasphemy.
It's not blasphemy.
It's blasphemy. Brother. Zion Williamson can't play more than 40 games. He weighs 260 fucking pounds at 6'6". He's Charles Barkley.
Let me just see. I know we didn't make the picks, but let's just look who went around those 26, 27 marks. Saraf, Raynard, Lendeborg, Trey, Filan. Those are the guys that are going around in that 26, 27 area. Like, again, I need to impact my franchise. I need to stop the losing.
No, you don't. We've had 1 year of losing. We've had one true year of losing.
We've had two.
No, a year without your own picks does not count as a rebuild year.
Well, it's still a terrible. I get what you're saying. I understand that. It's still a terrible season. We were 30 and 52 or whatever. That's a terrible season.
Okay.
So
who cares? Who cares? We're not winning a championship. We're not winning a championship with Zion Williamson. We're not winning it with Giannis, let alone Zion.
We're not winning a championship with Yaxel Lendeborg either.
There's nothing impactful about saying, hey, I want to go from dog shit to just shit. There's no difference. You're still fucking. If you ain't first, you're last. If you ain't first, you're last. So why move up the ladder by one singular step when it still leaves you in the play-in or non-playoffs?
Okay, give me the team. Give me the team in recent memory that went from the worst. And don't say San Antonio when they got Tim Duncan. A, that was 30 years ago, and B, they had David Robinson who just missed the season. They weren't a dog water team. They were a contender before they got Duncan. Give me the team that went from dog water to NBA Finals overnight.
Cleveland Cavaliers. 3 years
because they got LeBron James.
Okay, my point exactly.
All right, fine.
Why are we not trying to draft next
they get
year?
Giannis then. They get Giannis because Cleveland did it by getting Brown.
No.
Wait, hang on.
You don't trade for a guy that's
Cleveland
30,
got Brown at 30 years old.
No other pieces around him. That doesn't work. Who are you adding next to Giannis? Who? What 3 players are you adding next to Giannis this offseason to form a contending roster to compete for a championship? Who? No one. You're losing Cam Thomas. You're losing Nick Claxton. You're losing 5 to 6 first-round picks.
Well, I'm gonna have cap space again. So I'm gonna have Kuminga, Cam Johnson, and.
Okay, so again, we move from dog shit to shit. We're still shit. We're still a playing team.
Let's live in that world. Let's live in a world where you keep Cam Johnson, you add Kuminga. I can't defend. I don't want to make the honest trade because it's gonna make me. Zion is 5 years younger, 6 years younger,
and he's also B 100 pounds.
I don't have to give up the same. I don't have to give up
less available.
I don't have to give up the same haul to get Zion. That was the appeal.
You know what haul I have to give up to potentially have a top 5 pick next year? 0. I have to give up nothing next year to potentially have a top 5 pick.
You have to finish with the worst record in the NBA to draft 5.
Yes.
Okay. What makes you think we're finishing with the worst record in the NBA?
Did you see what I just drafted?
We weren't even close.
Did you see what I just drafted? That's a mediocre. That's a decent draft with a ton of upside, but guys who are not NBA ready outside of Kneppel.
Okay, why are we worse than Utah? Why are we going to win? Utah's better at tanking, and they drafted a bunch of young guys who they're going to play too. So why is?
Well, they still have Lauri Markkanen as of right now.
Yeah, Utah's got an infinitely better roster than us. I grant you that. Yeah,
and Washington even has a better roster going into next season than us. They have Marcus Smart. They have Chris Middleton. They have Bilal Coulibaly, who's going to take another leap probably. They have Alex Sarr, who's going to take the second-year leap. They have guys. Why are we not going to be the worst roster in basketball next year?
Because we're not good at tanking.
I will kidnap Jordy Fernandez myself if it means that we can figure out a way to get a top 5 pick next year. I'll do it. I'll throw myself under the bus. There's no reason why we should not be a bottom 5 team next year. There's not one excuse.
Dariq Whitehead, I'm a Dariq Whitehead fan. Secret account says Jordy is thinking about playing. Do you know he is?
He can think about whatever he wants. I think about $1 million every night before I go to sleep.
We can get into the plane in the East. It's not, you know what I'm saying? Like we can.
Can you?
Probably.
Can you? Charlotte should be better. Charlotte should be better than us next year, right? Toronto is 1,000% going to be better than us next year. Philly.
Chicago's going to take a step backwards. Atlanta's going to take a step backwards.
Philly is 100% going to be better than us next year. So that's already 3 teams who are outside of the play-in that should be in the play-in playoff picture, right?
Miami's going to take a step backwards.
Miami still has Tyler Hero and Bam Adebayo. Those two players alone are better than anybody on this team.
No, they all have. No, I agree.
And they
all
also
have
are
better
still coached by
rosters
Eric
than us.
Spoelstra.
But are they all going to try to get into the play-in?
And they also, I don't think they own their pick in 2026, do they?
I don't know.
I'm checking that right now. Miami. Oh my fucking God. Why is it when I click a team, I got to go through 7 different ads? Miami does own their 2026 first. Okay.
Yeah. I do have a feeling that the Nets are going to trade this pick. I really do. Are they going to trade the 8th pick for some player?
Like, okay, so realistically, Cleveland, Boston, even with Tatum hurt, should be better than us. The Knicks, the Pacers, the Pistons, the Magic. That's 6.
Sure.
You have the Raptors, you have the Sixers, you have the Hornets. That's already 9. You would have to think Atlanta or Chicago is
not
in competition for that 10 seed.
Okay, that's the competition. So the question is, how many games do you think Atlanta and Chicago are going to win? 35?
Josh Giddey's better than any player on our roster.
They have better rosters than us. But the question
Trae Young always figures out a way to get into the play-in. They have statistically been in the play-in every year that he's been there, if not playoffs. And if he's still there, what makes us think that he's not going to get there? They have 2 first-round picks this year, right? They have cap space because they're getting off of Capella and LeVert. What makes us think that we're going to be better than Atlanta? We're not. We're going to be an 11 through 14 seed again next year. There's no explanation not, especially if that's your draft, and especially if you don't get Giannis, and especially if you do move Cam Johnson, and especially if you do move Nick Claxton. What makes us think that we should be anything more than an 11 seed?
The 11 seed, like we just saw this year. The teams that drafted 1, 2, and 3 were not the 3 worst teams in basketball. Not even close. They weren't even in the bottom 4.
And I'll take another top 8 pick next year. What makes us think the West is going to be worse than it was this year? Right?
But the West,
like realistically, Utah, the 4 worst teams in the West.
Well, let me address that.
Yeah,
Utah's got to play more hard games than the Nets do because the Nets have more games against Charlotte. They have more games against Washington. They have more. You know what I'm saying? They have more games against bad teams, more winnable games. In the West, there are less crappy teams, so you have less.
If you look at the standings currently, the Nets won 26 games. There was only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams with worse records. We already just said Philly 100% should be better than us, right? Toronto is 4 games ahead of us. They are 100% going to be better than us. So you already are at top 5. Charlotte should be better than you. You have LaMelo. You are potentially having VJ or Ace. You're going to have Brandon Miller. You're going to have Mark Williams. You're going to have Tejon Saloon. You're going to have Miles Bridges. That roster is better than Brooklyn. If LaMelo stays healthy, they're a better roster than us. So that's already top 4. You have New Orleans. They should not be a fucking bottom 5 team next year, especially if they get to keep Zion or if they get a great call back for Zion or if they get Giannis in return. They should not be a bottom 5 team. That puts Brooklyn into the top 3. You're debating Utah and Washington. Where is there a scenario that the Nets are not a bottom 5 team in basketball next year?
I don't care if they're a bottom 5 team, though, right? Like, trying to win a rigged system to me is a fool's errand. Like, I'm trying to win a system that's rigged. Like, they're going to put me wherever they want to put me. If they want to put me at 1, they'll put me at 1. If they want to put me at 12, they'll put me at 12. If they want to put me at 8, they'll put me at 8, right? Like,
I'll take any of those picks over losing a bunch. You can go out and sign an all-star.
But what I'm saying is the teams that win the lottery are traditionally teams that are close. If you want to win the lottery, get close to the playoffs.
That's just in the last 2 years.
Right. That's what I'm talking about.
But but watch. Okay, so you'll take that approach and we'll finish as a 9 seed and we'll lose the first round play-in and then we'll still be at 12.
Where we actually finish in the standing has no outcome on where we're going to draft.
At some point in time, you get lucky. If you continuously change your course, you will never see the result of what you actually want. That is just a fact. Okay, you lost in a lottery 1 year. Well, we're going to give up on it because the year before that, our 9th overall pick moved up to 3 for another team. How many times are we going to do this?
It's not our pick, though. It's the NBA is going to put you where they want to put you. They wanted Houston to be good, so they put him at 3.
At the end of the day, any top 8 pick next year is more beneficial to this roster with the assets that you still have left over, with the free agency cap space that you have the following season, than bringing in a guy like Giannis and wasting all of that. That is just factual.
I'm not really for bringing in Giannis.
Even Zion, it's more beneficial than a Zion Williamson. Do I want 5 18 to 20-year-olds over the next 2 years who have all upside that can progress into NBA players? on great contracts, by the way, that would not even combine to the money that probably he's making? Or B, do I want a fat, obese, oversized, non-healthy power forward who's 6'6", who can't shoot a three? I'm good. I love Zion. I'm a Duke fan. I have the jersey. I've showed the jersey. I don't want Zion Williamson in fucking Brooklyn. It is.
I'm a Longhorns fan. I don't want Trey Johnson here. I get it. I understand. Yeah.
I can't do it. I just can't get behind either of them. This is not the year for stars. You paid a premium for your picks. Go see what the fucking picks turn into this year and next year. That's it. We're already a year in. Stay one more year. Stay with me. We're almost there.
But we didn't even do a good job at it this year. And then okay.
If you want to go after whatever you want in the 2026 offseason, by all fucking means, do whatever you want. Because at that point in time, you're now looking at Boston's decline. You're looking at Milwaukee in the first year of their rebuild, most likely. And you're looking at teams like Miami slowing down, etc. That's fine. That's fine.
Let me address Dariq Whitehead here. Look, the reason why we want
the only reason I want Porzingis
is because he's got age and he can't play. Yeah. That's why you want him.
Yeah.
I mean, they're probably going to give you second rounders to take the salary, right? So, yeah, we're not getting Porzingis with the intent that he's going to play. We're getting Porzingis that he's not going to play.
The deal that I provided was a 3-team deal between Boston, LA, and Brooklyn, and it was Nick Claxton heading to LA, for second-round draft capital maybe to Boston, and then Brooklyn would get 2 or 3 first-round picks, 1 from Boston, potentially 1 or 2 from LA, and then you'd be getting Porzingis, Gabe Vincent, and Maxi Kleber. That's $53.2 million worth of contracts that you'll be able to free up for next offseason, along with the cap space that you already have for next offseason. That's a superstar level contract that you can bring in. Why would you not want that? Porzingis isn't winning you games by himself. He can't even win in bed if he actually has HIV.
No, he's getting Porzinged by the homies in Latvia.
He's getting Porzinged.
And now he's got the AIDS.
But no, at the end of the day, I can't. I did not witness us fuck up the Suns picks for us to fuck up our own picks again. Go use your next 2 picks. You do not have your 2027 first. It's a swap. Houston has the better pick. I completely understand, agree, and I'm for trying to compete by that year. That makes sense. But please.
But we're not going to be competitive by 2027 unless we have Giannis.
That's not true. What
How
makes
is that not true?
Remember, 2 years ago, I said that Giannis should likely be available within the next 2-3 years. Giannis is now available. So who could be potentially available in 2 years from now? Anthony Edwards, potentially. Maybe Luke is available again. Maybe Devin Booker's available. Maybe Tatum, depending on how he comes back from his Achilles. There's a world where a lot of these guys are going to be available.
Yeah, the NBA changes wild every year. It's not like other sports, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I get it.
What makes us think that the next guy isn't going to come up? Maybe Jokic is available. You want Jokic or Giannis in 2 years? I prefer Jokic. Jokic play.
There's nothing that the Nets can do from this point on, right? There's nothing that can happen from now till November or October, whenever the season starts. That's going to make the Nets good, right? Like, there's nothing we can do that's going to make us competitive.
There is not one. Giannis doesn't make us competitive.
No, nothing. Nothing makes us competitive. No. I agree. Like you have to get Giannis and then another superstar, right? Like then you could be competitive. But like we don't have anything to get that. Yeah, I know John used to talk about getting Giannis and Trae Young. Like we don't have a package for any of that. We don't really even have in reality, we don't really even have a package for Giannis. So Giannis ain't coming here.
The only package that we have for somebody is maybe a Zion or a Trae Young. And even then, neither of those guys does anything for your roster except bumps you up maybe 2 or 3 seeds and worsens your odds on lottery night. That's it. That's it.
He says Hanson Yang, I guess he's talking about.
I'm not seeing the comparisons, man. They see a big man that can make 2 assists, and everybody's like, "Oh my God, Jokic!"
Joker.
Like they're doing the same thing with Danny Wolf.
Yeah.
Let these guys be their own thing first before you compare. The guys above 7'1", 9 times out of 10, the guys who are 7'1" or higher don't have long careers, aren't incredibly gifted players. I had this debate with Leaf last year with Zach Edey, who he thought was going to be the best player in last year's draft class. 9 times out of 10, the 7-foot+ guys don't end up turning out well. So I'm not going to bank on a guy like that.
China is due another NBA star like Yao. Yao was phenomenal, but Yao did have a short career. Although I would not complain about getting Yao Ming. It would be great
Also,
if we got
wasn't
Yao
Yao
Ming. He had a very
created
short
by the
career.
government? If I'm not mistaken, didn't they find the tallest woman and male in that country and had them procreate? Was that?
Is that what I have no idea. I've never heard.
I believe I had saw a story about that. I could be completely wrong, but I'm pretty sure that they did it like experimentally, where they brought in the tallest male and female, and
let's have man talk here. You do like short girls or tall girls?
I mean, my girl's 5'6".
Just kind of tall, but not really, right? Like,
Yeah,
it's not like
just above average, not crazy. Yeah, 5'4" to 5'7". It's a great height. They still have to get on your toes to kiss you, and they're not tiny, short, where you have to break your neck for them.
My wife is 5'2". She's very short, right? And I like that. But the girl I dated before that was like 5'8", 5'9".
Well, how tall are you though?
I'm 5'11".
Yeah, see, I'm 6'2". So that makes sense, right? Because if my girl's 5'6", yours is 5'2", it's a 4-inch difference. You and I were probably like a 3-4 inch difference. That makes sense.
If she's short, I want her to be thicker. If she's tall, I want her to be elegant. I want her to be tall and skinny, right? So I think it just depends, right? Like I don't want if my girl's tall, 5'8", 5'9", or taller, I'm cool with that. But she's got to be thin. She's got to be elegant looking, right? Yeah. If she's short, I want some TNA on that.
Oh man. Well, listen, this was an exceptional draft. I'd like to think.
I gotta save this.
Yeah, please do. I'm gonna cook up a post for that later. And
wait, hang on. Before
we'll talk about some off-season moves tomorrow.
How do I? Where do I save this again?
Click save draft. Up. Yep. Right
here
there.
it is. Yeah.
Right down the middle. Yeah, and then just do updated 2-round mock draft, and then just put today's date. What is it? The 19th.
Yeah. Post. All right, saved. All right, we'll be back tomorrow, same time, about 11:30. That work?
Yes, I just wanted to confirm. I'm looking at an article from the Sydney Morning Herald. Yao Ming, the basketball giant made in China by order of state. Yes, it is true. He was made because of the tallest male and female in whatever country they decided to do that in. That is crazy. That's sick. That's sick. I mean, that's cool. I mean, is that how Ohtani was made? I got to know. Because Ohtani's a fucking specimen.
We could trade for every injured player in the NBA, and Gary would be drooling. No, just one. I've been on this Zion thing all season. I've been on this thing for a year now.
I love Zion. I love Duke. Stay the fuck away from my team.
Here's the two options I'll give you. We can draft Trey Johnson, or we can trade for Zion. What are your choices? Those are the two choices.
Wherever Cooper Flag is going, I'm going.
I'm going with Cooper.
At that point, fuck that. Fuck that. I don't think I could watch that next year if that's the product.
All right. Look, if they trade Johnson, I'm not going to be happy about it.
I'm going to cry. I'm going to cry. I'm going to cry.
But like,
I'm going to cry. I'm going to be so mad.
As long if Fears is on the board and they draft Trey Johnson, I'm going to be pissed. If Trey Johnson's not on the board, I feel like I don't care. You're not getting a good player anyway. No, I would take Mallory.
Oh God, I don't want to see that fucking guy in Brooklyn. I don't want to see Trey Johnson, Zion Williamson, or Giannis in Brooklyn. Give me anything else. I don't care. Take Carter Bryant at 8. For all I care if Trey Johnson's on the board. I don't care. Yeah. I do not care.
All right, yeah, I'm fine. I don't want Trey Johnson either. It's just like, yeah. It's going to be a bunch of empty. He's going to average 15 points a game as a rookie on pretty inefficient shooting. People go, he's averaged 15 points a game and 19 years old. Wait till you see what he becomes. I know what he becomes. He becomes a guy that can score a bunch of points and can't do anything.
Yeah, he becomes Bradley Beal.
Yeah.
Bradley Beal scored 30 on the Washington Wizards without making the playoffs and then got traded to the Suns, and he can't even average 17 or more. He sucks. He's on the worst contract in basketball outside of Jaylen Brown and Nick Claxton. Congratulations. Like that's not an NBA player. That's not a player that wins. Same thing with Cam Thomas. I know people can't take it. Breezy, I hope you're not here. But it's just factual. The guys who score with limited access to the rest of their game do not turn out as players that can be on a contending roster. It's just factual.
I tend to agree.
It's unfortunate because everybody likes the flashiness, but it's just true.
There are so many guys in the NBA that can score, like so many. It's not. This is not the 1980s where it's like 10 guys in the league that can score, and the other 20 couldn't score, 15 points a game in a G League game. It's not like that anymore. There's plenty of guys that you can get who can fill it up. It's you don't need to draft a guy like Trey Johnson who can do one thing and nothing else. Like you don't need to draft a guy like that. Not in the lottery. If you got him at 27, like Cam Thomas, all right, fine. All right. Like that's what I'm saying about Cam Jones. If you're talking about getting Cam Jones at 36, all right, fine. You can do one thing, but I'm taking him at 36. I'm not taking him in the top 10 or in the lottery.
Yep.
All right. Same time tomorrow, Dylan?
Same time tomorrow.
All right. It is May 19th, 2025 from Texas to the world. Thank y'all and God bless.
Later.